DDP. Okay, so I'm into this a lot. I love DDP coming in. I think that's a great addition. It's one of the few WCW, because I've seen a lot of NWA, Jim Crockett stuff. But, which is weird to say now. But, I haven't seen a lot of, actual WCW Monday Night War stuff. The one guy I've seen a lot of is DDP. So I'm into this idea of DDP coming in. I'm into him and Raven coming in together because I think that's a really big mid-card feud. What I'm not into is this weird subtext of Raven fucking DDP's wife and Eric Watts.
What's that, Liam? You said you're not into Eric Watts?
Well, this is a different era, there's no Goldilocks here.
You're saying Goldilocks was carrying him entirely?
I would say so.
So yes, Diamond Dallas Page makes his TNA debut on the November 12th Impact. Raven opens that show shouting at Larry Zbyszko, demanding he be booked in a match with Monty Brown coming off of Victory Road. Larry's like, yeah, I'll go for it, who cares? Monty pounced Raven into the referee. Abyss comes out and Black Hole slams Monty, but then Diamond Dallas Page appears out of the crowd, out of nowhere, hits Raven with a diamond cutter, allowing Monty to score the win as a hooded figure watched Abyss from a distance.
Who could that be? This was alright. A good debut for DDP.
I thoroughly approve of the number of diamond cutters that are thrown this month.
Yeah, well, that's why you're here, DDP, not in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame.
I'm waiting for the episode of Impact that has a pounce, a black hole slam, and a diamond cutter, which I actually think about it, this match had all three, making it the best match in TNA history.
My God.
Because Monty pounced Raven, Abyss Black Hole slammed Monty, and then DDP Diamond Cuttered Raven. That is the trifecta of great finishes all in one match. Well done, TNA. You nailed it in one.
If only AJ was here to Styles Clash DDP at the end.
Yeah, throwing a Canadian Destroyer, just PD hitting Saban with a... Actually, no, he would never hit Saban with a Canadian Destroyer. Hit Red with a Destroyer on the floor.
Yeah, then we would have been perfect.
DDP's leaving the building. Franchise catches up with them, asks them, what are you doing here in TNA? DDP says Raven knows exactly why he's here.
DDP kind of big leagues Shane Douglas a lot.
I approve of it.
Is there Jersey heat?
You know my pro Scott Hudson philosophy. Anybody big league in Shane Douglas is good in my book.
Listen, I agree that the loss of Scott Hudson is terrible, but I don't think we should take our anger out on poor franchise.
I'm like Goldilocks when Hudson took her job.
How dare. Actually, that's why I'm happy that he's gone now. I'm like, you screwed Goldilocks, now Goldilocks screws you in the long run.
November 19th, Johnny B. Bad faced Raven. Hey, Liam, tell me about Johnny B. Bad. Tell me about Johnny.
I fucking hate Johnny B. Bad.
Why do you hate Johnny B. Bad?
He does nothing for me. Isn't he a real nice guy? I bet he's a nice guy.
That's the classic Brian Alvarez. It's I'm sure he's a nice guy, but...
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I never want to see him on TV.
Yeah, when he comes out, he shoots his boomstick or whatever they call it into the crowd.
Oh, great. You know me, I'm all about the boomstick.
You do love confetti. You fall all over yourself whenever you see it.
Yeah, no, I hate John B. Bad.
He hits a TKO, he hits a Frankensteiner.
Oh, the worst fucking move of all time.
Wow, why do you hate a Frankensteiner?
No, the TKO, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
The ultimate jag move.
Liam went on a 5-minute rant about his hatred of the TKO on the watch along.
Ultimate jag move. You know how someone's not going to be a star if they do the damn TKO?
Hey, Johnny B. Bad's been in wrestling for 15 years at this stage, so what do you know?
I suppose that's true.
He's facing Raven here. He accidentally bumps the referee. Raven hits the Raven effect, but then DDP hits the ring, drops Raven with a diamond cutter, allowing Johnny B. Bad to pick up the win.
Right. Good John B. Bad push.
Same thing as the week before. Franchise stopped DDP on the way out. It says Raven's been living rent-free in his head for 2.5 years, and now rent's due.
How much is rent, do you think?
How much is rent in DDP's head? Probably pretty expensive.
Probably the same as living in the fucking DDP yoga house.
Franchise has Raven. Asks about DDP. Raven said that Eric Watts is responsible for all the heartache and agony. And then does a rhyming promo, which I'm going to recite in its entirety.
In the voice.
DDP, you should have stayed retired. You're weak, decrepit. You should have never been hired. You want to make this a game? Take careful aim. You've lost your fame. Be very afraid, because I'm coming to maim. Bang! It's not the cutter. It's the Raven effect. 6 feet under. You'll have time to reflect. Watch the CD-ROM. I'm dropping the bomb. Intellectual Vietnam. You never cross Raven in his home. Goodbye, Paige. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Quote the Raven. Nevermore. As I do, in fact, strike the pose.
You didn't stumble on the Terror Dome line, though.
Yeah, because I'm a pro. I can hit my poetry.
Yeah, that sucks. That's really bad. That's like me at like 12 being like, yo, I can probably rap.
Watch the CD-ROM. I'm dropping the bomb. Intellectual Vietnam.
Intellectual Vietnam is such like a rap bar.
Oh, dear God. Bless Raven. Bless him and his rhyming promos.
I love him.
November 26th, Raven is meant to face Vordell Walker. Bell rings, but then DDP hits the ring. Coming out to his Smells Like Teen Spirit knockoff, by the way.
Yeah, is it better than the WWE Smells Like Teen Spirit knockoff?
Well, they didn't do
Or
one.
I suppose the WCW Smells Like Teen Spirit knockoff.
That's my big problem with WWE. They're fucking cowards. And not only
Did they not do one?
Not only did they not do a Smells Like Teen Spirit knockoff, but they've edited the WCW one off of old episodes.
Oh my god. I thought they did one because he has one in the games.
Very upset, but here he is with his Smells Like Teen Spirit knockoff here in TNA. Probably better than the WCW one, honestly, as knockoffs of songs go.
Yeah. It's pretty close.
DDP's mad because Raven talked about how Raven was the one who made DDP. DDP talks about how he won the title with Hogan, Sting, and Flair in the ring, and Raven is just jealous because Raven never won a belt.
Hey, what the fuck? Raven was ECW champion. That counts.
We don't respect belts like that here in the NWA-TNA.
Well, you know what? Only one of these two people will win the NWA title, won't they?
That's a very good point. So the subtext here, they talk a lot about it, is that there is some past between Raven and DDP.
Is it subtext?
Well, they don't. They're being like obtuse about what they're actually saying. It's like
They're being coy.
you don't want to say what you're really mad about. But there's an issue between Raven and DDP about Kim. The subtext being Raven banged his wife, but Raven's like, no, it's Eric Watts you want to talk about. So is it like Watts is the one who banged his wife?
And why is DDP so mad about people banging his wife anyway?
He loves banging more than anybody else. He's the bang man, and he cannot give out about banging.
Yeah, he should be approved. He should be. Sorry, I just got distracted by a Rikishi tweet.
What was the tweet? Please read it in its verbatim.
There's nothing to read. It's a picture.
What's it a picture of?
I'm going to send it to you and you can deem how to describe it.
Oh, I'm going to get distracted by the Rikishi tweet. Okay. Liam shared a tweet. What did... All right, so it says, now this is unacceptable. Not acceptable, unacceptable. With a picture of a monkey with his ass out? So...
I think it's his balls.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, either way, Rikishi's not pleased about it.
Yeah, if you ever have any time, go through Rikishi's old tweets. It's nothing but bangers.
Well, I don't even know where we were. Watts, Raven, DDP, Kim love triangle of some sort.
Yeah.
So Raven has some new minions he hangs around with.
I want to know who these minions are.
You want to know who's under the mask? It's probably just Johnny Divine. It's apparently always Johnny Divine now.
Yeah, not wrong.
I think your guess that it was the Naturals might not be off base because they do nothing else this month.
They're also like very skinny.
They tried to attack DDP, but DDP hits them both with diamond cutters, which again I approve of. The more diamond cutters, the better.
Bang.
Raven did have a good line in this where the DDP is like, "You shoved a knife in my back," and Raven's like, "There's so many knives in your back. How do you know which one is mine?"
That is a really good line. I thought Raven's still very good. Like he gets a little hokey, he gets a little ham-fisted. I'm using ham-fisted a lot in this show, but he's still like one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star there.
And one of the more enjoyable things is still again a Raven program this month because this DDP program has diamond cutters, and I approve.
So I was thinking about our end of year awards. I have no clue.
Oh, it's tough, isn't it?
I was thinking of like wrestler of the year, and I was like, AJ? No.
It's
Raven? No.
If you pick AJ, it's like the default I guess answer.
But like I don't want to give it to AJ.
Monty?
Yeah, I was thinking Monty. Chris Harris?
He had a good year. You can't say he didn't have a good year. Abyss?
It's not been a good year.
Goldilocks?
It might be. I mean, best promo. I don't even know what our own award categories are, but
I think we have best character rather than best promo, but I'd have to check.
we should we need to change it to best. We need to add a best segment now because we've entered the TNA segment era. Yeah. I do not know who I'm giving Wrestler of the Year to this year.
Which will make our award show even more interesting when it comes after our next episode.
There's not a lot of options. BG James?
How dare you? Don't you even mention it. December 3rd, Impact. DDP comes out. Go home show. DDP. I like the way DDP comes through the crowd for his entrance. It's a nice little touch, a little different.
Shades of John Moxley.
I also appreciate, like, he comes out the tunnel, he does his bang, and then he steps off of the ramp into, like, the crowd.
He does his bang.
He does do his bang. We're all about banging here with the Diamond Dallas Page. So yeah, he comes out, he's going through the crowd, he's doing his poses. Raven attacks him from behind, they brawl for a while. Looks for a diamond cutter, Raven bails as Eric Watts watches on from the crowd.
What could it mean?
What could it mean? It's a very good question.
What's could it mean?
No. Turning point.
Do you remember the Titans?
Turning point. DDP.
That was a reference to 3 hours ago.
We're pretty deep, alright. We had the 3-hour mentality very early in the show, so...
Which I think we've gone in reverse, because now I'm feeling like I have the energy of hour one.
You got the Watts energy, that's what we call it. That's why he's called Watts.
Yeah, got all these kilowatts.
You're powered up. DDP faced Raven with Watts on commentary at Turning Point. DDP's in ring debut.
There's always Watts on commentary. How else would they run the mics?
I already made a Watts joke. You can't just double down.
I can double down.
I like this match. It was a good enough match for what it was.
I mean, like, am I going to get mad at a DDP versus Raven mid-card match on my TNA pay-per-view? No.
It was a little overbooked, but who cares? It's DDP and Raven.
Bang. They should swap and just do DDP versus Jeff Jarrett.
We'll see that before long.
And DDP should win.
Well, we'll see.
That doesn't make me feel like he's gonna win.
They kicked out of the Diamond Cutter. They kicked out of the Raven Effect. Funny that he does a Diamond Cutter near fall in his first match. He's like, I probably won't be around very long. Might as well have him kick out of it.
Well, I feel like they well, yeah. But like I feel like that's been the build of the match too. Is like they're just gonna do their moves. They're gonna hit their DDTs. They're gonna hit their Diamond Cutters, and everyone's gonna kick out.
Yeah, when DDP hit the Diamond Cutter, Don West shouted about how it's the Stone Cutter, and then Mike Tenay's like, Diamond Cutter! Two of Raven's henchmen tried to interfere, but Watts killed them both with choke slams, feigning to be on the side of DDP until it turns out he turned on DDP and clotheslined him too.
Fucking Schwerf.
Went to choke slam him, but DDP just dropped him with a Diamond Cutter.
Awesome. What sucks too, he gets fucking jobbed out hard.
Yeah, and then DDP hits a second Diamond Cutter on Raven to pick up the win in his TNA debut.
Bang.
Nice little mid-card pay-per-view match for what it was.
Yeah, let's see where this goes, I guess.
And as always, I will keep saying it, more Diamond Cutters, the better.
Bang.
This month, DDP is our challenger, so they've kind of run through the 3 people from the Final Resolution 3-way, where he beat Monty, he beat Nash, and now he's wrestling DDP.
A good challenger.
Yeah, again, like those are the 3 guys. They're matches they haven't done, at least in TNA. They're fresh. DDP's a star. DDP still has at least enough left in the tank to have a good match. It's a good pay-per-view main on paper.
On paper.
February 18th, Impact. Mike Tenay throws the footage of TNA invading the Super Bowl in the Best Damn Sports show from February 4th. So this aired even before Against All Odds, or took place before Against All Odds, I guess. So they're on a stage at a Super Bowl party. DDP said Jarrett would be Nash's bitch at Against All Odds, and then Jarrett hit DDP with a guitar.
Also, first of all, DDP switching sides, because he said the opposite at the press conference.
It's a very good point. He did call him the Queen of the Mountain. And now he's Team Nash.
I don't appreciate this.
He floats with the wind, Diamond Dallas Page.
Bang.
But yeah, Jarrett hit him with a guitar. He actually tried to hit Nash, but then DDP kind of ended up in the way.
I thought it was a good little angle, though, to be fair.
In front of a Super Bowl crowd.
Jarrett's doing a lot of, like, outside media at this point.
They want to push that, because they do air the freaking blue collar TV sketch, and there's a fun little bit where one of the people on the show is really putting him over strong, but the way that sounds super forced, and it turns out Jarrett's off camera making him say nice things about Jarrett. It's a good bit.
Yeah. See? Goof!
I was looking very closely, because they showed the shot of him hitting somebody on the show with a guitar, and I was like, at what point does he get the splinter in his eye?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He should have worn the glasses!
Yeah, the Slapnuts glasses are very practical when it comes to preventing splinters from eyes.
It's eye protection.
So Dusty comes out later in the show with Tracy and Trinity. He announces that Hardy will face Abyss in a Falls Count Anywhere match. They don't yet give it the Final Assault name. And also announces that Jarrett will defend the title against DDP at Destination X. DDP comes out and he hits the one promo he does this month, which is saying, "It's time," over and over again.
It's better time.
Which you'd have to be disappointed in that you would have hoped the crowd at the pay-per-view itself were like chanting "It's time," but they weren't really.
No, but they were into everything he was doing in the lead up.
Like when he did the like call and response, because he's like, it's what? And they put the microphone out, the crowd would be like, it's time. All that went pretty well.
Well, like they got to the stage where they were ending his like lines of his promo for him, which was kind of cool.
The crowd, speaking of chants, chanted, drop the title at Jeff Jarrett during this segment.
Doesn't get more blatant than that one.
They would like him to lose. They brawl. Jarrett wants to hit DDP with a guitar, but DDP dodges. DDP goes to hit Jarrett with it. New Age Outlaw intervenes. Nash makes the save, allowing DDP to drop Jarrett with a diamond cutter.
Bang.
Dusty Rhodes is pushing for Jarrett to drop the NWA title to Page at the March pay-per-view. There are opposing forces to Page getting the title, though. I wonder who
those opposing forces could be.
Yet everyone agrees the time has come to shift it away from Jarrett just to freshen up the main event matchups.
That's just that. That's the only reason.
It turns out Dusty did not get his way, but let it be known, Dusty wanted to take the belt off and put it on DDP.
Yeah, but he should have done it the fucking month before.
Oh, Nash?
To Nash, yeah. I'd take Nash over DDP.
I'd take anybody over Jarrett at this stage.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think DDP would be my answer.
I do find that an interesting political conversation here, though, because Jarrett is obviously minority owner, Dusty is booker, and Dusty is like, drop the belt, and ultimately it comes down to the minority owner wins over the booker.
He's like, no.
Yeah, he does not want to drop the belt, and therefore he does not drop the belt.
Dixie!
That was probably exactly... Dusty wants me to drop the belt!
And then Dusty's like, Dixie! I want him to drop the belt!
Dixie is, by the way, at home at this stage, having just had her child.
Dixie's like, shut up, stop bothering me.
Yeah. These two goofs talking about fucking title changes, and she's like with a newborn child.
Go to Shane Douglas.
The next episode of Impact, February 25, the main event is meant to be DDP versus the New Age Outlaw. DDP's music hits, he comes out.
This is the Outlaw.
Jarrett gets up on the table, DDP goes to meet him, they brawl. Outlaw jumps DDP, Nash comes out, they brawl. Security separates them and let's go off the air. There's a lot of those segments where it's like, two of these guys brawl, the other two guys come out, and then that's all the build.
We call that me and you booking TEW.
It is funny when you see like the lazy trope show up in actual wrestling shows. It's like, oh, they really don't put much more thought into it, do they?
See, my thing has always been like, I'm allowed to do it. I'm booking 18 shows in a row as I play this dumb game. You have a week to think of something else.
Yeah, and like we talked on the last episode about how there are some tropes that thumbs up you can do the whole time, like the All-Star tag match on a go-home show. Like, timeless, do it every time, I don't care.
Good guy finally turns on bad guy and hits him with steel chair and crowd goes nuts.
Yeah, timeless, easy to do, works every time.
Cinema.
It is cinema. It's cinema when Kid Cash and Abyss do it, and it's cinema with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. But, so like there are shortcuts you could take that I have no problem with, but also when you see like the same stuff over and over, it's like, guys, I know you have to film 2 of these at this stage, so they're going down to tape 2 one-hour television
they're
shows.
Hour shows. Yeah. Like, just spend a couple days just writing down ideas. Especially in this current structure that they're going through, where they're not exactly doing multiple pay-per-view stories very often. Like, just sit down and write out a month of one person's story. And then write another person's month of story. Then write another person's. And then make them different. You could plan out your whole month in advance and have them be unique and different stories. Instead of just going, same thing every time.
And they touched on an actual story here. So earlier in that show, Mike Tenay sat down with DDP, sitting in the entrance tunnel, which I appreciate that they found a unique backdrop for that interview. So they're sitting like backstage in the back of the entrance tunnel, and you can see into the impact zone behind them. Cool shot. So Tenay's sitting there. He asked DDP how he got back into ring shape, where he does a little pitch for, it wasn't DDP yoga at that stage. It was still yoga for regular guys.
Just yoga for the fellas.
Yeah, it became more inclusive as time went on.
You ever done DDP yoga?
I have done DDP yoga.
I've done some DDP yoga in my time.
It's good.
It is good.
It is a good workout. Thumbs up.
Yoga's fun.
So then they pivot to the Jarrett match. DDP talks about how the accumulation of guitar shots he received over his career, particularly in WCW, was what caused his neck to get messed up and cost him millions of dollars and had to retire and took 2.5 years off his career.
A great story!
Yeah, it's a good, simple, straightforward story where the heel took years off the babyface's career, and now the babyface wants to take the title off the heel. Like,
That's good stuff.
really straightforward. That should have been the month of television, not all these fucking brawls. And there's a lot of stuff that's like weirdly Jarrett and Dusty related. And he's like, Dusty's trying to get the belt off me. And it's not really about DDP at all. And you have a nice little story here.
Yeah.
So Dusty comes out on the March 4th episode. He actually opens the show saying that Jarrett has to meet him in the ring later in 30 minutes or he might strip of the title and suspend him. And I'm like, what?
Which that sounds like an ending that Jarrett would accept. Yeah, strip me of the belt. That's fine.
The weird thing is later in the show when Dusty did come out to do the promo, he didn't mention anything about the potential suspension and belt stripping.
I don't know. This all feels very like fly by the seat of our pants, not planned out at this point.
So that segment later, Dusty comes to the ring and he talks about how there will be enemies of Jarrett around ringside for the DDP match in order to maintain fairness. He introduces some of those, the 3 Live crew where some of them, they come out. He then introduces DDP. Dusty gives them like a big pep talk. He delivers the It's Time line, which then brings out Jeff Jarrett along with his pals, the Outlaw, Chris Candido, and the Naturals. It runs down all brawl ends.
Bro.
It's like Nash, Outlaw, DDP, and Jarrett, they just brawl. That's all they do all month. A fun note, they recorded the segment twice because there were a problem with the brawl the first time. The reason they recorded it twice, with Rhodes, Jarrett, DDP, Zbyszko, and Tim Welsh at first, that one was canned because they basically messed up a guitar shot. The guitar didn't break, but they retaped it without the guitar shot. And without Zbyszko and Welsh as well. Welsh is the person who plays Attorney Daggett.
Daggett's a great fake attorney name.
It's not too bad, is it? I don't like him as a character, but it's a decent attorney name. He, like all things, he just feels very tacked on to the Jarrett act. It's like if he disappeared, the act wouldn't change.
He's no smart Mark Sterling.
He's no Joseph Park.
So many lawyers.
Go Home Impact. Mike Tenay introduces Jarrett. Jarrett cuts more of a promo on Dusty than DDP. DDP comes out through the crowd. In a reoccurring trend with all of these Jarrett feuds, Jarrett keeps trying to talk and DDP was like, would you ever shut the fuck up?
Yeah, like that. Everyone says this to him.
He keeps trying to cut them off and everyone's just like, shut up. I'm doing my promo.
Dusty did it. Nash did it.
She's like, dude, shut your mouth so I can do my promo.
And then Jarrett's always like, nah, this is my time.
DDP talked about how the guitar shots cost him 2.5 years of his career, and it is, in fact, time.
It's time.
Turned out it wasn't time. Destination X, main event for the NWA World Championship in a ringside revenge match. Jeff Jarrett defeated DDP to retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, it was a match that happened that wasn't very good, especially coming off, the fantastic effort against Nash last month.
Mm. As a man who is, as we talked about on the last episode, very pro-interference. Talk me through why this interference match is bad, but the month before was good.
Because this interference match was worse.
You know what? I can't deny the logic.
Like, that's just what it is sometimes. Like, I think the interference being a net positive is more on the actual match itself than it is on the idea of having interference. If you have a match between two good people that has outside interference and story stuff, it's not like it can help raise it. But if you're having a bad match and then you put interference on top of it, it can just make it worse.
This was very cluttered interference, wasn't it?
It comes down more simply to just, it was a bad match. Like, the interference wasn't the thing that made it bad. It was a bad match that had interference.
So, as mentioned, ringside revenge rules means there's a bunch of people at ringside, both allies of Jarrett and of DDP. So, Tree Life Crew, Monty Brown, the Naturals, and Candido are all ringside along with the Outlaw. And Tenay explicitly states, he looks dead down the camera and is like, this is not a lumberjack match. These people cannot get involved. They are only there to maintain law and order. What do they do? They all fucking get involved.
Like, just do it as a fucking lumberjack. Just do it.
Yeah, and there is a ref bump for the actual run-ins. There's run-ins from Sean Waltman and the Outlaw. But there's a lot of the interference right in front of Rudy Charles. Rudy.
Not a great day for you.
Yeah, first you're counting pins on people who aren't in matches, and then you're freaking allowing every interference under the sun here. So BG goes to hit Jarrett with a guitar. There's all sorts of interference and nonsense. The match is no good. The match never even like settles into being a match, because I think that's the downside of having all those people at ringside. It's like, just get to the interference. There's no pretense of this even being a wrestling match with all these people at ringside, you know?
Yeah, which is like, just do it. Just have all the run-ins and stuff, because I don't know, I think that could have helped the match, if anything. The problem is, when these two are out there just trying to work, that you're like, this is dull.
Also, there's no cellos.
That would have helped.
So BG goes to hit Jarrett with a guitar, but Jarrett moves and he accidentally hits Conan. Because through the month there's a little story about
Wink.
BG is dragged away to talk aside by the Outlaw, and the Outlaw's like, hey, we're just reminiscing about old times, and Conan's all conspiratorial. He's like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
I don't know who the Outlaw is.
Oh, sorry, the Joutlaw.
Oh, yes.
So here, BG accidentally hits Conan with a guitar. We'll hear more about that in a minute. Sean Waltman returns for the first time in a month. He runs off the Outlaw who interfered. DDP diamond cuttered all the goons, and then the smoke had cleared. Everybody was gone except for Jarrett, DDP, and the alpha male Monty Brown.
Yeah, and then the alpha male's gonna pounce Jarrett, and he's gonna help DDP win the title. We're gonna finally get the belt off Jarrett. It's gonna be a good moment.
That is definitely, absolutely, positively what happened. Monty Brown swiveled his hips and pounced DDP, helping Jarrett retain as Jarrett and Monty embrace, and Jarrett does his dumbass head point to point out how smart and great he is. Monty Brown has turned heel and aligned himself with Jeff Jarrett.
My favorite thing about this was in the watch along where I go, oh, Monty's not going to turn heel here, is he?
So on the Final Resolution episode, I did say that the worst creative decision in TNA history is Monty losing, which is probably still true. But to compound that, not only does he align with Jeff Jarrett, but he does so by turning heel, is just the absolute dumbest shit. Not only because all we've seen over the last 2 months in particular is that Monty Brown is actually an awesome babyface.
Yeah.
It's very clear, as a worker, he was a pretty mediocre heel, and he was a really good babyface because he hits big, high-impact, cool moves and cuts awesome promos. So this dude is made to be a babyface. And then you turn him heel, and not only do you turn him heel, you align him with the guy he's been trying to beat for months. It's just such fucking dumb, idiotic wrestling bullshit, nearly certainly entirely concocted in order to keep the hot young babyface challenger away from the paranoid NWA champion who doesn't want to drop his title.
Which actually could be a good story if it had the right payoff.
That's the thing. If they did do that story of Jarrett manipulating Monty and Monty snaps and wins the belt, fine. They didn't. It's just a stupid...
When he hits him in the back with a chair and the crowd goes fucking nuts.
It's just a stupid, pointless swerve for the sake of a swerve, and it just kills Monty.
It's a swerve for the sake of backstage politics, is what it is.
It can't be overstated how much this just kills Monty Brown. And it kills my personal interest in him, because even after he lost to Jarrett, I was talking about how he did that Team Canada squash that I really enjoyed, because he just beat the shit out of dudes and he was cool. And now he's just a stupid heel who's going to stand next to Jarrett as Jarrett does his same promo when he talks about how he's great and no one's on his level and he loves the NWA title and no one loves the NWA title like he loves the NWA title, and he lives and breathes this and no one else does. And he does that same promo as the crowd tell him to wrap it up and leave, or the crowd tell him to drop the title. And it just kills him. And why would you do this? How could you misread this audience and this guy that badly? How could you look at him, look at his performances over the last 2 months and think, heel turn?
See, that's the problem. I don't think that is what they're doing. I think it is simply just a way of keeping Monty away from Jeff.
It's such bullshit. It's such nonsense. It's such useless, terrible booking that should be thrown in the bin because somebody economically doesn't want to drop the belt. Just have DDP lose.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the turn. You can just beat DDP. There's a lot of you could just beat X on this show as well. You could just beat Triton. You could just beat Kevin Nash. You could just beat all these people. Just beat people. You could beat AJ. Maybe not AJ. You said beat AJ on the watch along. I disagree with that one. I'm fine with them not directly beating AJ. But, God, just beat people. Alright, let's bring things home with the 3LK family drama.
Hey, Gary, remember when BG James debuted?
He's not gone for another 4 years.
Damn it.
The Outlaw on the first Impact of the pay-per-view cycle, April 29th, faced Mikey Bat. He won with the Missouri Boat Rider, the one and only.
Don't you call it that around me.
Outlaw looked to attack Bats after the match, but Triel came. They made the save. Then Conan grabbed the mic from BG because they're beefing.
He looks so little next to him.
The Outlaw is the most giant man in this company.
Outlaw.
He is so big compared to everybody else. Conan grabbed the mic from BG and he got into the Outlaw's face and he said, "I'm going to face you next week." Then BG and the Outlaw locked eyes as the Outlaw laughed, further suggesting there's
It's very sensual.
something between them.
Just the two of
Nothing
us.
sexual. BG would not like
but
that.
would daddy ass?
Probably. May 6th Impact. The Outlaw faced Conan.
Probably.
He's very suggestive as Daddy Ass.
He likes to pick him. He loves to stick him.
Talk about this Outlaw versus Conan match. You like this match.
Yeah, I was into it. And I like that Conan threw the shoe at him. And then the crowd all took their shoes off.
I do appreciate everyone embracing the Conan shoe taunt.
Shoe law. And then, like, fucking Conan just got sconed and it was over.
Yeah. The Outlaw just hit him in the head with a chair.
It was a no contest.
Rather than a DQ for some reason, even though he hit him with a chair.
Conan instigated by throwing his shoe.
I did like the touch that Killings was out first and then BG lagged a little later.
He doesn't want to get involved.
Then again, Outlaw looked at BG once again, started laughing as medical personnel attended to Conan and they replayed the chair shot. Trill K helped Conan to the back.
How mean. And I was like, obviously this is leading up to the Joutlaw Conan match at the pay-per-view. Or the Joutlaw versus Ron Killings in a singles. And I was like, oh, no.
If you watch them as they're helping Conan to the back, they make the mistake of actually approaching the ramp from the side slightly instead of walking right up it, so you can see they hesitate a moment. It's funny. It popped. Then on the pay-per-view, you had a tag team match that was meant to be Diamond Dallas Page and BG James versus the Monty Brown and the Outlaw.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that went awry.
I found it very funny. They did an angle where DDP was backstage with Terry Taylor. He's like, I got this message from BG. He's having travel problems. He's going to be late on the same show where Jeff Hardy actually no-showed.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it was at least meant to be an angle. I do like, again, the little story touch that BG approached DDP to be his partner instead of asking Ron Killings.
Yeah. Well, because he doesn't trust 3OK. He doesn't want them in their business.
DDP's like, he has travel issues. He asked me to be in this match and then he's not even here. Killings walks up and he's like, you said...
Killings like, yeah, man, you can't trust that dude for shit.
My favorite part, he walks up, he's like, you talking shit about BG? And DDP's like, yeah. It's like, well, yeah, I didn't even get a message. Let me talk some shit about BG too. Killings then offers to be DDP's partner, which leads us to the pay-per-view match of Monty and the Outlaw defeating Ron Killings and DDP.
Good stuff.
DDP finally had his like full pyro, like a proper pyro on his
the
last night in the company. So Liam.
Oh god.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Remember, okay, do you remember? I forgot what my even thing was. Do you remember when DDP arrived?
Yes.
And Shane Douglas was like, what's going on?
Yeah, he diamond cuttered Raven. Then Shane Douglas was like, give me the scoop. And he's like, no.
Yeah. And do you remember when he feuded with Eric Watts?
I'd rather, again, not. That feud that went nowhere about Raven and the wife, and DDP was banging Eric Watts' wife, but he wasn't banging his Watts. Banging his Watts.
Banging his Watts. Well, I guess technically this still works.
Yeah.
Garrett, do you remember Turning Point 2004, where he wrestled Raven?
Good little match. Probably the best match of their run, by the way.
Final Resolution 2005.
Oh, with the number contenders match.
Where DDP and Kevin Nash and Monty Brown had a three-way date.
Where he was actually willing to put over Monty clean, unlike perhaps here, where we'll talk about in a moment.
And do you remember, as I scrolled through DDP's matches...
How do you not remember them? There's been 5 of them.
Yeah, there was actually been 10.
Really?
That's double what you said. Do you remember when he had started teaming with Monty after that match?
They were a fun little tag team. He hit a diamond cutter and Monty
do you remember
hit a
when he
pounce and
cut those
happy.
cool promos where the crowd finished his sentences?
It's time
to bang.
It's always time to bang.
Do you remember when he had a bad world title match with Jeff Jarrett?
Yeah, I blame Jeff.
Garrett! Kidney. Do you remember when DDP
Diamond Dallas Page
left?
Yeah, that's right now. That's what we're talking about right here.
Oh my god, let's talk about it.
So yeah, like his run's pretty good. Unlike Dustin, who I actively turned on, every time DDP's out there, it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna hit a diamond cutter and I'll be happy. So I had that going for me.
Yeah. I remember when he did that. Hey, Garrett, I got another one. Do you remember when DDP hit the RKO?
I don't like you.
I think I've worked out what the charm of the Do You Remember segment
Upsetting me?
Yes, but also me not knowing when anyone leaves.
Yeah.
So then I have to do this off the top of my fucking head.
On the fly, you have to remember what DDP did.
Yeah, this is going to get real bad later on.
Especially with much longer runs.
When Chris Harris is gone and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Remember when he wrestled?
Remember when they were going to split up America's Most Wanted?
Like 4 other times?
Yeah.
So Fight Out the Slam ran in. He tried to take out DDP. DDP diamond cutter both of them, and then also the Outlaw, but then ate a pounce for the win. And if you remember the watch along, I actively said, I wonder was DDP like, if I'm putting that guy over, I'm hitting a bunch of fucking diamond cutters before I do. And it turns out that is exactly the case.
Which is fair.
Page was booked to get pinned by Monty Brown's pounce in the match. He refused to do the job, which hardly went over well since he's largely seen as a star whose main role is to put over the younger guys and make them appear to be stars because of it. Taylor and D'Amore then negotiated where Page would get to use his diamond cutter on 3 guys. They literally brought in Fidel to Slam just to get diamond cuttered by DDP, and then he also diamond cuttered the Outlaw before he would get pounced to do the job. And this is apparently what kind of soured people on Page, and it's like, all right, but we can all go our separate ways at this stage.
But looking to make some cuts anyway.
Yeah, he is probably one of the more expensive people on the show, and I think they can get by perfectly fine without DDP. I do think it's a shame that, like, after they did the Monty turn, you didn't even get the DDP match out of it.
Yeah.
I think they would have had a pretty good match, and ideally you would have wanted him to, like, actually put over Monty Brown in a singles based on that turn, but at least he lost to Monty here.
Yeah. Imagine how many people he would have had to have diamond cutted in a Monty singles match. He would have had to have thrown out the whole X division at him.
If you remember when he was wrestling Raven as well, which he did beat Raven, but also he's like, I'd like to diamond cutter a bunch of goons that Raven only had for that feud with DDP. Does he have like a diamond cutter quota?
I think he knows that it makes him look very cool.
It does. It's a great move. I do enjoy it. It's the, like, if he didn't have the diamond cutter, I'd be like, DDP kind of stunk in TNA.
Yeah, we all love the RKO.
But he hit a bunch of diamond cutters. And that pleases me.
Yeah.
So the important point there was that BG James, while he missed this match to Team Ron Killings, he was in the gauntlet for the gold later. And they were like, oh, he got there on time for his gauntlet match. As you ask questions.
I am asking questions.
When did you do that in your AJ voice?
I think it was more my Dixie voice.
They're the same voice.
But it's all the same.
And then BG and the Outlaw did their little thing in the gauntlet as well. That is your Trio K family drama for the month.